The tiny Central American country of Belize has been significant to our armed forces for decades. A former British colony, it achieved independence in 1981, but for more than a decade after that, British troops protected it from the threat of a cross-border Guatemalan invasion. By 1994, that threat had faded and the main British force left, leaving behind a training unit known as BATSUB. With access to 9,000 square kilometres of primary jungle and open plains, many thousands of infantry troops have undergone the tough training Belize is famous for. But by next August, BATSUB in its current form will no longer exist.
The significant majority of BATSUB personnel will be moving on, including the helicopters, and we will go down to a much smaller establishment that is able to maintain our presence within Price Barracks, and there will be some limited training that will continue.
BATSUB has escaped total closure, but only around 10 military staff and 60 locally employed civilians will remain behind to look after the real estate. Price Barracks is shared with the Belize Defence Force, but essentially the British part of the base and the training it facilitates is being mothballed. For the troops passing through, the training prepares them not only for potential jungle warfare, but also for whatever other operations might be thrown at them, including Afghanistan. Replacing the quality of training they get here could prove difficult.
We've really clicked, I think, here in Belize, so it is a pity. And we're looking at alternatives, because what we don't want to do is just admit defeat and say, well, we can't go to Belize, therefore we'll have to go back home. We are still looking for somewhere where we can present the same challenges.
It's not only visiting troops who are tested and challenged here, it's a tough environment too for the G4 logistics staff.
Equipment takes a fair old bashing because of the climate, which causes a lot of rot. And also because of the conditions out there on the roads, etc., we tend to find that we're having to repair and recover a lot more often than you would do in temperate conditions.
At the end of each exercise, most vehicles are no longer roadworthy after weeks of pounding the jungle tracks and rough, muddy roads. All have to be inspected and repaired. The humidity means the steel is prone to rust.
Sadly, when you're on the shop floor and it's 32 degrees and 90% humidity, it's not the easiest environment to be grafting in.
By next April, this facility, kit and all the equipment will be gone. 25 Flight is already scaling down what it does. The 212 Bell helicopters no longer operate as a flying ambulance for the local population. For the time being, they are still assisting the Belize Defence Force.
We also take those guys out to their lookout positions right on the border with Guatemala. It's quite difficult for them to get to them with the jungle being so dense. So for us to take them out takes maybe 2 or 3 hours out of our allocated time of the day, but for them it would take them about a day to walk from their actual camp to the positions on the border.
Well, they too will be gone. Belize is also renowned for its world-class adventure training facilities. Sailing, snorkelling and diving. This is important downtime after weeks spent in harsh jungle conditions. It's the best the Caribbean has to offer, with specialist instructors at hand.
Activities like this aren't just about having fun. Over the years, they've also helped soldiers adjust and recover after spending months on the front line in places like Afghanistan.
And with the army at the moment, it's a lot of work. And where you used to get a lot more adventure training than you do now. But adventuring is really key, I think. Because you're all working together, but instead of working together, you're having fun together. So for comradeship, just basic morale for the troops is everything really, isn't it?
Perhaps a little less morale, this facility closes for good next summer. It's estimated that mothballing BATSUB will save around £9 million a year, but some of that saving will have to be spent on other, more expensive training areas instead. Kenya and Brunei offer jungle training, but not on this scale. Still, BATSUB's commanding officer insists this is not the end.
If in due course we needed to come back, then we might be able to, in strength, and also continuing to do some jungle training here come on a fairly routine basis, but less than currently is the case.
Someday it might well be needed again, but for now the sun is setting on British Army training Belize. Charlotte Cross, Forces News, Belize.